Well, take a look at this electromagnetic vehicle that was photographed by the Soviet probe that landed on the moon in 1966. Wow, there's so much detail there. Like I said, the entire surface of the moon is structured. No 1 inch has been spared. And this thing, look, is attached to the ground by this deal right there. Look, look. That's what I use the camera, because the camera can see in the shadow and dark areas of images. Something that I don't see any of the investigators, any of the so-called experts and investigators looking into any of this. They say, oh, there might be some bases here. No, the entire moon is covered, not an inch. It's not structured or sculpting. I think it's only sculptures. This is, I mean, I don't know how anybody can be living in that thing, working in that kind of deal, unless you are some kind of a shadowy figure that live on the ground in a freaking mole. Doubt it. They come and go from there, and all this all automated. I just don't see how. I mean, this is difficult to study and difficult to pinpoint who is there and what is what. It's difficult, man. Like I said, look at that, wow. And you can see that this thing doesn't roll anywhere. This thing either float or move electromagnetically along the surface. There is no axles or nothing. The object just looks like that, but it's not any freaking wheel. It's hexagonal on top of that. I mean, look at this thing. Like that. And it has this, the same way the structures are made is the same thing as in this thing. There is no different. It's like it's part of the environment. I mean, you have to be extra stupid to think that that deal rolls anywhere with hexagonal shape. Nah. And on top of that, it's attached. Look, the bottom is a base attached to that thing. That thing ain't rolling anywhere. Nah. And then he has another thing on one side, on the back side of the object. It's a structure, 2 prongs that are right there, that are part of. So, unless you can explain to me how this thing attached to the ground or whatever that is, a structure, it appeared to be a pair of wheels. None of that. This thing is part of the ground. It's just protruding from it. Look at this part right here. It looks like it's a freaking, it looks like a creature, the head of a freaking creature. Look. With a narrow snout. But probably none of that either. It just looked like that. Look, I mean, you have to be extra blind not to see that. That deal ain't a pair of wheels, no. Look at that, that's strange. It looks like a coil, a square, or squarish. It has these bulging deals on the corners as every structure there. Well, not only there, it's all over the solar system. The entire solar system is built the same way, structurized like that. So the alien question is starting to sound to me like something that is, I don't know, man, this is difficult. It might be no any freaking alien, but some demonic shit that is just taking advantage of people. The way those two things manifest is difficult to differentiate them one from the other. Yeah, you see objects appear to be flying, but when you consider that the sky is a structure, what makes you think that that could be a projection? That's holographic, ultra kick-ass projection that look, feels high or cold or emit light to us. I mean, we're malleable. Our minds is very easy to manipulate by a superior consciousness. I mean, this whole deal is becoming to me kind of problematic to think that these sculptures every freaking where, and then look at that, that thing is hexagonal, that thing doesn't roll and it's attached to the ground on both sides and underneath, on the back side there is something protruding that right here. I mean, it's difficult to look at that. I mean, it is difficult. Usually the pictures are like that. The original picture is like that, but like I say, this camera has the night shot capacity. It can look into the darkness and enhance what's there. So it becomes obvious that this whole thing is a structure. Part of the entire place is a structure, all of it. You can see all these things the same way. I mean, complex as it can be. But see, when you see this deal right here, and you see this thing right here, all like that. And it repeats on top, and it repeats in angles, up and down, side to side, and angle and deep. And you have to start thinking that there is another equation to this visual paradox. And it's difficult to put into words what this really feels like, look like. It looks kind of a robotic, organic looking deal, just like the one that Dr. Berggren showed in that conference That thing was not any mechanical looking thing. It looked biological. It looked, I mean, it changed shape. It's like the material it's like a living thing. And that is hard to start considering. The implication of that is when you see that Apollo flying over and you see the ground, little openings and things coming out, and as that thing passes over, and there must be some kind of a super badass sensorial deal that perceives the thing over and is reacting to it. They're sending tiny probes, and I say Dave, but we don't really know. All we know is a story that somebody say, but really we don't know. Like I say, a super intelligent thing that can create a whole solar system, believe me, that thing is so far ahead of everything. It's difficult to consider the implication that that thing is automated, that it can react. I mean, what you think is metal is really a mixture of metallic thing with biological. I mean, we have done cells with electrodes and computer chips, and it's difficult. A quantum computer is, just think about what a quantum computer can do, and that is not a science fiction. That shit exists. It can make calculations that are impossible for a regular computer. Something that 300,000 zeros, that's a hell of a computer that can do that kind of calculations. 3 trillion calculations per second, that is a badass. I mean, there are things that we just cannot wrap our heads around. And then what the deal is here, what I say always, well, for the past 6 years, that there is this shape of hands on everything. You can see right here that it's all look like that organically, and the shape of hands and fingers. Well, a hand has 5 fingers if it's a human type. And that's what you find on everything. You don't find chicken hands, or, you know, they look like reptilian deals, but when I analyze, it's just too perfect, looking like a human hand. All these sculptures everywhere there.